TPR and Listen First by Eric Schlechter and A.J. Hogue. Foreign language study has not been as successful as it should be. In fact, students are dropping like flies from foreign language programs. J.H. Lawson reports that the dropout rate in foreign language programs for American high school students is as high as 85% by the third year and 95% by the fourth year. Another study by John B. Carroll found that students who had studied for 2 years had a less than satisfactory proficiency as measured by standardized tests, which means that the first 2 years did not allow the student to become proficient enough to hold a conversation in the language. L.A. Jakobovits also found that most students who study foreign languages will probably never become fluent. Not only will most students have low proficiency in reading, writing, speaking, and listening, they will actually experience negative learning. That is, they will learn to avoid the foreign language and culture at all costs. This is because of the many frustrations and failures they experience during their foreign language study. Perhaps the major reason for the lack of success of foreign language programs is the method used. The audiolingual and grammar analysis methods are popular approaches that came into wide use after World War II. These methods consist of memorizing grammar rules and dialogues and engaging in pattern practice drills. These methods do not produce communicative skill because language is creative and therefore theoretically infinite. Consequently, it is logical to conclude that since language has infinite possibilities, the methods of language instruction should teach the student to communicate creatively. A number of powerful methods have been effective doing just that. These include TPR, TPRS, focal skills, ALG, automatic language growth, the natural approach, and the effortless way. The first of these, TPR, was created by Dr. James Asher. TPR stands for Total Physical Response. Learning a language through TPR approximates the acquisition of your native language. This acquisition follows the order of listening first and then speaking. Finally, the learner learns to read and write. In the receptive listening stage, the child hears different sounds, such as pick up your truck or drink your water. As the child hears these sounds, they physically respond. After a period of perhaps 12 to 18 months, the child begins to speak. At this point, understanding is far in advance of speaking, and it will remain that way for many, many years. In the acquisition of the first language, therefore, listening is the first skill to be developed, followed by speaking. It seems reasonable, obviously, that foreign language learning should approximate first language learning. In TPR, speech and writing are delayed until comprehension has been extensively internalized. Research by Valerian Potovsky supports the theory that delaying speech is beneficial. The results of his research show that overall proficiency in Russian was significantly better when oral practice was delayed at the beginning of language instruction, until comprehension of spoken Russian was extensively internalized. This learning method is often called a listen first approach. It has also been used successfully by the Thai language program at the American Alumni University School in Bangkok, Thailand. In sum, research and educational experience show that traditional grammar analysis methods fail up to 95% of the students who are taught using them. Natural methods, especially those that use a listen-first approach, are much more powerful and effective. Therefore, when learning English or any other foreign language, Focus most of your energy on listening until you can quite easily understand native speakers using the language. Only after that should you change your focus to speaking or writing. As for reading, it is an ideal supplement to listening activity, as long as listening remains the major focus. If you're an intermediate or advanced learner, but feel that your listening skills are weak, it is best to go back to square one and focus on listening for 6 months or more, until you can understand native speakers well. Then you can return to extensive reading, writing, and speaking. Welcome, Effortless English members. This is the vocabulary discussion for the article titled TPR and Listen First. Let's start with some of the vocabulary. In the beginning of the article, we have the phrase dropping like flies. That is an idiom, a common idiom in English, especially American English. In the sentence it says, students are dropping like flies from foreign language programs. Dropping like flies means quitting in large numbers. It means a lot of people are quitting, or a lot of people are leaving, or it could mean a lot of people are dying. But it means a lot of things, or a lot of people, a lot of creatures quitting, leaving, dying very quickly. So if students are dropping like flies from a class, it means a lot of students are quitting the class and they're doing it very quickly. Dropping like flies. Okay, and then the next sentence we have the word dropout. The dropout rate in foreign language programs. Dropout means leaving or quitting. It can be a noun. In this case, we're using it really as an adjective. The dropout rate, it's a noun used as an adjective. All right, and then the next paragraph, we have the phrase less than satisfactory proficiency. Less than satisfactory. Less than satisfactory means not very good, not satisfactory, below average, low quality. All of those meanings, it basically means the same thing. Less than satisfactory, not satisfactory. We have the word proficiency in this article. Proficiency means skill or ability. Skill or ability. We have the word standardize. Standardized tests. Standardize means uniform. It means it's always the same for everybody, always the same in every situation. A standardized test is always the same. All right, moving on, we have the phrase audiolingual, the audiolingual method of teaching language. Audiolingual, audio means sound, of course, listening. Lingual means language. And what this means is audiolingual, it's a repeat after me kind of teaching. So the teacher says, "Hi, my name is AJ." And you repeat after me. "Hi, my name is John." And then I say, "How are you?" And you say, "How are you?" Okay, so that's the basic idea, audiolingual method. It's a repeat. You're repeating different patterns, different sentences again and again. You might change one word, but basically you're repeating it many times. That's the audiolingual method. It's an old method of learning languages. It doesn't work. It's very bad. Don't use it. Okay, we also see the phrase at all costs. At all cost is a common idiom. Say, most students learn to avoid foreign languages at all costs. At all costs means you will do something no matter how difficult it is, no matter what the cost, right? I must have a new iPod at all costs. It means I will pay any amount of money for a new iPod. It doesn't matter. I will do anything. I will pay any amount to get an iPod. I will do it at all costs. So in this case, negative. Most students want to avoid foreign language at all costs. They will do anything to avoid foreign language. And that's definitely true of Americans, true of many people. All right. We see the word approaches. We've had that in many articles. Approaches in this case means methods. Methods. And we say some different approaches came into wide use after World War II. Wide use, came into wide use, means used a lot of use. So after World War II, the audio-lingual method, repeat after me, and the grammar analysis method, which means memorizing grammar rules, those two methods became very popular after World War II. And they both suck. They're both bad. They're not good methods. They don't work. They're not very effective. Yes, some people can succeed using them, but most people cannot. And most people hate them. All right, we see the phrase engaging in. Students engage in practice drills. To engage in means to do. To engage in means to do. So engaging in means doing. All right. Pattern practice drills means repeating the same sentence many times. Repeating the same sentence pattern. Right? A pattern is something that repeats. Okay, and a drill is some kind of practice that you do again and again and again. We see the word theoretically. Theoretically means in idea only or abstractly. It means it's not proven. It's not something you touch. It's not something that's necessarily real. It might be. But it means in theory, in idea. So language is theoretically infinite. Infinite means without limit. Having no end. No limit, no end. All right, so language is infinite and it is creative. It means that with language, you can always create a brand new sentence, a sentence that is totally new, that no one has ever said before. That's why you can't only memorize sentence patterns, because there are an infinite number of possible sentences. You have to learn to create sentences yourself that are new, that are different. All right, we see the word approximates used as a verb here in the last paragraph of the first page. Now, approximate is an adjective, and you have to listen carefully. The pronunciation is different for the verb and the adjective. As an adjective, you say approximate. The approximate price is $5, right? Approximate means kind of, not exact. But if you use it as a verb, you say approximate, to approximate, right? You hear the A, it becomes a long A sound. To approximate. So approximate, the stress is different. Adjective, approximate. Verb, approximate. So TPR approximates natural language learning. And to approximate, the verb means get close to, or imitate, or copy. Not exactly, you don't copy exactly, but almost exactly, very close. So TPR, this method of teaching language, this method of learning language, approximates native language learning. It gets close to how you learn your native language. It gets close to natural language learning. It approximates language learning. We also see the word acquisition here as a noun. Acquisition means to get something and keep it. You can use it for buying. Right? You say, I have a new acquisition. It means I bought something new. But we also use it in language to mean learning. It means I want good English acquisition. I want good English learning. The last sentence of the first page, we see the word receptive. In the receptive stage, the child hears many sounds. Okay, receptive means open. It also means receiving. In fact, that's the real meaning. Receiving. To be receptive means your arms are open and you want to receive. Maybe receive money. Maybe receive information. Maybe receive ideas. You can be receptive to many things. It means you're open to many things. You're ready to get. You're ready to receive something. You are receptive. Adjective, receptive. All right. So children are receptive when they're young. They receive a lot of language. They're open. They want to receive a lot of language. They receive language, then they respond physically. To respond is to answer or to react. If you respond, you answer or you react. So children, when they're very, very young, like babies, they respond physically. They respond with actions, not with words. All right. And then again, we see the word developed. We've had that before. To develop means to grow or learn or improve. To be developed, if you use it as an adjective, it can mean that something has grown, that has improved. Okay. We see the word delayed. Delayed means stopped or inhibited. TPR delays speech and writing. They wait for speech and writing. They stop it and they focus on listening first. Okay, then we see internalize, used as a verb, to internalize something. To internalize something means to learn it deeply, to learn it subconsciously, to learn it instinctively. So you can learn something, but maybe it's not deep. But if you learn something and you always remember it, and it's very emotional, very deep, you never forget, you don't need to think about it, we say you internalize it, right? It becomes part of your inside. It comes from internal, which means inside. So to internalize means to learn something or to believe something very, very, very deeply. All right, we see the word oral in this paragraph. Oral, of course, means related to the mouth or related to speaking. So oral practice means practicing speaking. Okay? We see the word comprehension in the same paragraph. Comprehension means understanding, right? You want your listening comprehension to be very good before you worry about speaking. So comprehension, understanding must be first. You first must understand. All right, and then getting near the end, we see the word supplement on the second to last paragraph. Reading is an ideal supplement to listening. Reading is a perfect supplement to listening. Supplement is an addition, something that is extra. An extra, in this case, an extra activity. So reading is an extra activity to listening. Listening is the main activity, the number one activity, and reading is something a little extra. And then finally, in the last paragraph, we see the word extensive. Extensive means a lot or a large quantity of or a big range of. That's extensive. We've had that word before. And then finally, we have an idiom. Go back to square one. If you are already an advanced learner or intermediate, but your listening skills are weak, it is best to go back to square one and focus on listening for 6 months or more. To go back to square one means go back to the beginning or return to the first step. Go back to the first step. So maybe you have a project, you're doing something, you're working a long time, but it's not successful. It fails. Maybe someone tells you, you need to go back to square one. It means you must begin again. Go back to the beginning. Start again. Start from the beginning. Okay, so that's what go back to square one means. Return to the beginning. Start again. Go back to square one. Okay, that is all of the vocabulary explanation for this article. Next, listen to the mini story lessons, and you'll learn how to use this vocabulary more correctly, more easily. Okay, bye-bye. Welcome, Effortless English members. This is the mini story for the TPR and Listen First article. Let's get started. First, the basic story. Bill is scared of heights. He hates high places. In fact, he avoids them at all costs. Bill engages in a lot of strange behavior to avoid heights. For example, he will not go upstairs. He always stays on the first floor. So, Bill is scared of heights. He hates high places. He avoids them at all costs. It means he will do anything necessary to avoid high places, to avoid heights. Bill engages in a lot of strange behavior. He does a lot of strange behavior. For example, he will not go upstairs. He always stays on the first floor. Okay, one day, Bill decides to join a class for people who hate heights. The teacher tells the class, "I will cure you if you do what I tell you." Bill is receptive to the teacher's ideas because he's tired of being afraid. So Bill is receptive to the teacher's ideas. It means he's open to the ideas. He wants to hear the teacher's ideas. He's curious about the ideas. Okay, on the first day of class, the teacher says, "Today we will go back to square one. We will start by climbing just 2 stairs." All right, the teacher says we'll go back to square one. It means back to the beginning, back to the most simple step, the first step. We will start by climbing only 2 stairs. This is very, very simple, right? The next day, however, they climb 5 stairs. And the next day, they climb 20 stairs. As they climb, the teacher yells, "You are strong! You can do it!" Bill internalizes these messages. Okay, Bill lets these messages, "You are strong, you can do it," they go deep into his mind. They go deep into his heart, deep into his feelings. He believes these messages. "You can do it. You are strong." So, Bill feels brave. However, other students drop out of the class like flies. But Bill stays. So other students drop out of the class like flies. They leave the class in large numbers very quickly. So in the beginning, the class is big, 100 students. But by the end of the class, maybe only 3 or 4. On the final day of class, Bill watches a movie about mountain climbing. The movie approximates the experience of being on a mountain. The movie approximates the experience of being on a mountain. It's not the same as being on a mountain, really being on a mountain, but it's close to the experience. It's a similar experience. Watching the movie on a big screen, he feels like he's on a tall mountain, but he's not really. It approximates the experience of being on a mountain. But Bill feels no fear during the movie. He's not afraid watching the movie. The class worked. Bill is no longer afraid of heights. He leaves and immediately climbs Mount Everest. Okay, back to the beginning. Bill is scared of heights. He hates high places. In fact, he avoids them at all costs. Does Bill avoid the tall places at all costs? Yes, of course. He avoids them at all costs. Will Bill do anything to avoid high places? Yes, that's right. He avoids them at all costs. He will do anything to avoid high places. Will he avoid water at all costs? No. He doesn't avoid water at all costs. What does he avoid at all costs? Well, he avoids heights at all costs. He avoids high places at all costs. Bill engages in a lot of strange behavior to avoid heights. Does Bill engage in strange behavior to avoid water? No, he does not engage in strange behavior to avoid water. Does Bill engage in strange behavior to avoid heights? Yes, that's right. He engages in strange behavior to avoid heights. Does Bill engage in strange behavior to avoid dogs? No. He doesn't engage in strange behavior to avoid dogs. What does he engage in strange behavior for? Why does he engage in strange behavior? Well, he engages in strange behavior to avoid heights because he's afraid of heights. That's why he engages in strange behavior. For example, he will not go upstairs. he always stays on the first floor. One day, Bill decides to join a class, a special class, for people who hate heights. The teacher tells the class, "I will cure you if you do what I tell you. I will remove your fear if you do what I tell you. You will be healed. You will be cured." Bill is receptive to the teacher's ideas because he's tired of being afraid. Does Bill accept the teacher's ideas? Yes, that's right. He's receptive to the ideas. He's open to the ideas. He wants to hear them. Is Bill receptive to the teacher's ideas about math? Well, we don't know, but no, probably not. Bill is not receptive to the teacher's ideas about math. He doesn't care about math. He's receptive to the teacher's ideas about high places, about how to get rid of fear. Is Bill receptive to the teacher's ideas because he's stupid? No, that's not why. Bill's not receptive to the teacher's ideas because he's stupid. Is Bill receptive to the teacher's ideas because he's poor? No, that's not why. Bill's not receptive to the teacher's ideas because he's poor. Why is Bill receptive to the teacher's ideas? Well, he's receptive to the teacher's ideas. He wants to hear the teacher's ideas because he's tired of being afraid. He doesn't want to be afraid anymore. He's tired of being afraid, so he's very receptive to the teacher's ideas. On the first day of class, the teacher says, "Today we will go back to square one." On the first day, did they do something complicated, something difficult? No. On the first day, they went back to square one. On the first day, they did something very simple. On the first day, they started at the beginning. On the first day, did they go back to square one? Yes, that's right. On the first day, they went back to square one. On day number 50, did they go back to square one? No, not on day number 50. On the first day, they went back to square one. On the first day, they started again. They started at the first step. They started very simply. On the first day, they went back to square one. How did they go back to square one? What was the first step? Well, the first step was climbing only 2 stairs. The teacher said, "Today we will go back to square one. We will start by climbing just 2 stairs." The next day, they climbed 5 stairs. The next day, 20 stairs. As they climb the stairs, the teacher yells, "You are strong! You can do it!" Bill internalizes these messages. Does Bill internalize the fear? No, he does not internalize fear. Does Bill internalize the teacher's sentences? Yes, that is true. Bill internalizes the teacher's sentences. Bill internalizes the teacher's messages. Bill learns very deeply what the teacher is saying. He believes it very deeply. Bill internalizes these messages. Do all the students internalize the messages? Well, no, actually no. All the students don't internalize the messages. Bill internalizes the messages. But other students drop out of the class like flies, right? Other students quit. In fact, many students quit. So all students do not internalize the messages, but Bill does. Bill learns them very deeply. He believes them deeply. Bill internalizes the messages. You are strong. You can do it. Bill feels brave. He feels strong. He has internalized the messages. However, other students drop out of the class like flies. Do other students leave the class just a little bit, in small numbers. No. They drop out of the class like flies. They leave in very large numbers. Do a lot of people quit the class? Yes, that's correct. The students drop out of the class like flies. Do the students drop out of the class like bugs? No, we don't say that in English. We say the students drop out of the class like flies. Do teachers drop out of the class like flies? No, not teachers. Teachers don't drop out of the class like flies. There's only one teacher, and he does not quit. The students drop out of the class like flies. All right. On the final day, however, Bill stays, and on the final day, Bill watches a movie about mountain climbing. The movie approximates the experience of being on a mountain. Does the movie approximate the experience of swimming? No, it doesn't imitate, it doesn't copy, it's not close to swimming. Does the movie approximate the experience of eating? No, the movie does not approximate the experience of eating. It's not like eating. Does the movie approximate the experience of eating or the experience of being on a mountain? Well, of course, it's the second one. The movie approximates the experience of being on a mountain. Is the movie similar to being on a mountain? Is it a similar feeling? Yeah, that's right, it is. It's a similar feeling. The movie it gets close to, it approximates the experience of being on a mountain. Bill watches the movie, but he feels no fear. Bill is not afraid when he watches the movie. The class worked. The class was successful. Bill is no longer afraid of heights. He's not afraid. So what does he do? He immediately leaves the class. He buys a plane ticket to Nepal, and he climbs Mount Everest. It's a happy story. Okay, one more time, quickly, just repeat some key phrases after me. Bill is scared of heights. He hates high places. In fact, he avoids them at all costs. He avoids them at all costs. Bill engages in a lot of strange behavior. Bill engages in a lot of strange behavior. For example, he will not go upstairs. He always stays on the first floor. But one day, Bill decides to join a special class for people who hate heights. The teacher tells the class, "I will cure you if you do what I tell you." Bill is receptive to the teacher's ideas. Bill is receptive to the teacher's ideas. Good. He's receptive because he's tired of being afraid. On the first day of class, the teacher says, "Today we will go back to square one." Today we will go back to square one. Good. We will start by climbing only 2 stairs. But the next day, they climb 5 stairs. And the next day, they climb 20 stairs. As they climb, the teacher yells, "You are strong! You can do it!" Bill internalizes these messages. Good. Bill internalizes these messages. Okay, good. However, other students drop out of the class like flies. Good. However, other students drop out of the class like flies. Good. But Bill stays. On the final day, Bill watches a movie about mountain climbing. The movie approximates the experience of being on a mountain. Good. The movie approximates the experience of being on a mountain. But Bill is not afraid during the movie. He feels no fear. The class worked. Bill is no longer afraid of heights. He leaves and immediately climbs Mount Everest. Okay, I'm going to tell the original version first in the present tense, meaning now, basically happening now. Here we go. Bill is scared of heights. He hates high places. In fact, he avoids them at all costs. Bill engages in a lot of strange behavior to avoid heights. For example, he will not go upstairs. He always stays on the first floor. One day, Bill decides to join a class for people who hate heights. The teacher tells the class, "I will cure you if you do what I tell you." I will cure you no matter what. Bill is receptive to the teacher's ideas because he's tired of being afraid. On the first day of class, the teacher says, "Today we will go back to square one. We will start by climbing just 2 stairs." But the next day, they climb 5 stairs. And the next day, they climb 20. As they climb, the teacher yells, "You are strong! You can do it!" Bill internalizes these messages. He feels strong and brave. However, other students drop out of the class like flies. But Bill stays. On the final day, Bill watches a movie about mountain climbing. The movie approximates the experience of being on a mountain. But Bill feels no fear. He's not afraid during the movie. The class worked. Bill is no longer afraid of heights. He leaves immediately, gets a plane ticket, and then climbs Mount Everest. Okay, very good. That was in the basic present tense, happening now. Let's change this a little bit. Let's begin the story with 8 years ago. 8 years ago, Bill was scared of heights. He hated high places. In fact, he avoided them at all costs. Bill engaged in a lot of strange behavior to avoid heights. For example, he would not go upstairs. He would always stay on the first floor. One day, Bill decided to join a class for people who hate heights. The teacher told the class, "I will cure you if you do what I tell you." Bill was receptive to the teacher's ideas because he was tired of being afraid. On the first day of class, the teacher said, "Today we will go back to square one. We will start by climbing just 2 stairs." But on the next day, they climbed 5 stairs. And on the next day, they climbed 20. As they climbed, the teacher yelled, "You are strong! You can do it!" Bill internalized these messages. He felt brave. However, other students dropped out of the class like flies. But Bill stayed. On the final day, Bill watched a movie about mountain climbing. The movie approximated the experience of being on a mountain. But Bill felt no fear during the movie. The class had worked. Bill was no longer afraid of heights. He left and immediately climbed Mount Everest. Okay, fantastic, great. Well, that's the normal past tense for any of you who do know the grammar words. Let's try it again. This time, let's begin the story with since 2003. Since the year 2003. Ooh, a little more difficult. Let's give it a try. Let's see if I can do it quickly. It's not so easy. Here we go. Since 2003, Bill has been scared of heights. He has hated high places. In fact, he has avoided them at all costs. Bill has engaged in a lot of strange behavior to avoid heights. For example, he has not been able to go upstairs. He has always stayed on the first floor. But one day, Bill decided to join a class for people who hate heights. Whoa, notice I switched now. Now we're talking about one day. Right? In the first paragraph, it's something that started in 2003 and continued until now. Bill has been scared of heights. He has hated high places. But now, one day is our clue. One day it changes, right? Now we're talking about one specific thing, one specific time, and it's in the past. It happened already. One day, Bill decided to join a class for people who hate heights. The teacher told the class, "I will cure you if you do what I tell you." Bill was receptive to the teacher's ideas because he was tired of being afraid. On the first day of class, the teacher said, "Today we will go back to square one. We will start by climbing just 2 stairs." The next day, they climbed 5 stairs. And the next day, they climbed 20. As they climbed, the teacher yelled, "You are strong! You can do it!" Bill internalized these messages. He felt brave. However, other students dropped out of the class like flies. Bill stayed. On the final day, Bill watched a movie about mountain climbing. The movie approximated the feeling, the experience of being on a mountain. But Bill felt no fear during the movie. The class had worked. Bill was no longer afraid of heights. He left and immediately climbed Mount Everest. Okay, so very good, very, very nice. Notice in that story, only the introductory paragraph, the introduction, the first paragraph, it changed. The rest of the story was normal past. Let's try the future. Dun, dun, dun. In the year 2020. You ready? In the year 2020. In the year 2020, there will be a guy named Bill. Bill will be scared of heights. He will hate high places. In fact, he's going to avoid them at all costs. Bill will engage in a lot of strange behavior to avoid heights. For example, he won't go upstairs. He'll always stay on the first floor. One day, Bill is going to decide to join a class for people who hate heights. The teacher will tell the class, "I will cure you if you do what I tell you." Bill will be receptive to the teacher's ideas because he's going to be tired of being afraid. On the first day of the class, the teacher is going to say, "Today, we will go back to square one. We will start by climbing just 2 stairs." The next day, they will climb 5 stairs. The next day, they will climb 20. As they climb, the teacher is going to yell, "You are strong! You can do it!" Bill will internalize these messages. He will feel brave. He will feel strong. However, other students are going to drop out of the class like flies. But Bill is going to stay. On the final day, Bill will watch a movie about mountain climbing. The movie is going to approximate the experience of being on a mountain. But Bill will feel no fear. The class will work. Bill will no longer be afraid of heights. He's going to leave immediately, and then he's going to climb Mount Everest. Okay, that's all. Listen to each one of these many times, especially compare them, right? Listen to each one. When you talk about verb tenses, switching verb tenses in English, pay attention to, concentrate on clues, introductory words or phrases. Certain phrases, certain words tell you when to switch. For example, one day. One day Bill decided, right? One day was a clue. It told me, now it's one specific day. Maybe I need to change. Especially talking about the past. Or 8 years ago. Now we know it was in the past and it's already finished. That tells us what to do. Or since 2003. Since 2003. That tells us it started in 2003 and it has continued until now. It's still happening until now or until recently, almost now. In 2020, that tells us it's in the future. So notice those phrases in each of these versions of the story. Listen to each version many times. You will begin to learn the grammar effortlessly without studying grammar, without trying to memorize it. Don't think about grammar. If you think too much, your speaking will be slow. If you think too much, your speaking will be unnatural. You will never be fluent if you have to think about grammar for every sentence you use. It's impossible. You have to learn it deeply. You have to internalize the grammar, right? You have to learn it unconsciously, instinctively, effortlessly, without conscious thinking. You must internalize the grammar. Okay, welcome to the commentary for the TPR and Listen First article. This is a very interesting article. I'm very fascinated with TPR. TPR is a fantastic technique for teaching languages. It is especially great for low beginners. Now, you can use it for many different levels, but if you have somebody who has zero language, zero English, zero Japanese, they want to learn the language, and they know nothing, TPR is a great way to start them learning. In fact, I think it's the best way that I know to start them learning. TPR has a lot of great research about it, around it. So we know from a lot of research that TPR is more effective, more powerful, more successful than traditional methods, more successful than audio-lingual methods, more successful than grammar analysis. Not just a little bit more successful, a lot more successful. TPR is very powerful. If you want to learn a new language and you have zero ability, try to find a TPR program because it's a great way to learn a language. TPRS stands for TPR Storytelling. It's kind of the next technique that comes after TPR, and TPRS, TPR Storytelling, that's what I do in our mini-story lessons. So they go together quite well. But anyway, in this article, it's a research article, basically. It's kind of a casual language research article. I changed the language a little bit to make it more conversational, more direct. But anyway, it discusses a few different studies. These studies are quite interesting. There are a lot more studies. When I was doing my master's thesis, I learned about some of this research. Because when I got my master's in teaching English, I knew something was wrong. I had already been a teacher. I had been teaching English several years before my master's degree. I had also tried to learn Japanese. I'd tried to learn Italian. I'd tried a little bit of trying to learn Spanish in the past. I even had taken Mandarin. I took 2 semesters of Mandarin Chinese in university. And these methods totally failed me. They did not work. I took 2 semesters, that's almost 1 year, of Chinese, and now I remember possibly 1 sentence in Chinese, maybe 6 words. That's not good. But even worse, after 2 semesters, I could not remember very much, and I certainly could not use Chinese, and I definitely could not understand it. The same happened with Spanish when I studied Japanese on my own. I lived in Japan. I was living in Japan for 6 months in Aomori, surrounded only by Japanese people, studying Japanese every day myself, and yet I could not speak Japanese after 6 months at all. I mean, not a little bit. I could not chat at all in Japanese. Someone said something in Japanese, unless it was super simple, like konnichiwa, hello, I didn't understand. So I thought, for a long time, something is wrong with me. AJ, wow, you're a smart guy, but man, you're bad with languages. You're just stupid with languages. You cannot learn a language. That's what I thought. I thought I had some problem. But then I became an English teacher, and I noticed, wow, a lot of other people have the same problem. All these students are failing, not just in my classes, but in everybody's classes. And all these English classes. The students are studying for years, 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, studying English. And they still cannot have a normal, average conversation. They still struggle. It's still difficult. And I started thinking, wow, something is wrong. It's not the people, it's not the students, it's not me. I don't have a brain problem with languages. The problem has to be something else. And I realized after I started doing my master's degree, I started learning about a lot of this research. I realized, aha, the problem is the teaching method. The problem is the textbooks, or are the textbooks that we use. That's the problem. That's why so many people fail foreign languages. That's why so many people hate foreign languages. That's why so many students think foreign language study is painful and horrible and frustrating. And just like the article says, so many people, especially in America, they study a foreign language a few years and they learn only to hate the language. That's all they learn. They never learn how to use the language or understand it well. Only thing they learn is, oh man, Spanish is really difficult. It's complicated. And that's Spanish. You know, Spanish is pretty easy actually for English speakers. It's quite close to English compared to Japanese or Chinese or Korean. But still, you know, I took some Spanish classes in high school and I thought, oh my God, this is so complicated. All these grammar rules, the subjunctive, and what? I don't understand it. I'm confused. And then I listened to a tape in Spanish. I listened to Spanish speakers. I have no idea what they're saying. Even if they speak slowly, even if they would speak very simply, I still could not communicate. It was very frustrating. But I started my master's program. I started reading this research. I became excited because I realized, number one, the old methods don't work, clearly, for most people. Yes, a few people can succeed with traditional methods. It's true, a few. But it's like 5 or 10% only, not many people. Most people fail with those methods. So I realized the methods are the problem. Even better, even more hopeful and optimistic, I found out there are successful methods. There are much better methods that are, number one, they're more successful. Number two, they're more enjoyable, they're more fun. Number three, they teach communication, not grammar rules, not standardized tests. And I started finding these different kinds of methods and studying them. I was very lucky that I lived in Bangkok, Thailand for a while. The article mentions the AUA Thai program, a Listen First Thai program, Thai language program, in Bangkok, Thailand at AUA. It stands for American University Alumni School. It's a very respected school in Thailand. They have an English program for Thai people, and they have a Thai language program. Now, their English program uses normal methods, I think. I don't know, really. But their Thai program is special. It uses a listen-first approach. People learning Thai just listen to Thai for a long time. Now, you don't just listen. Listening is not the only important thing. You have to listen to something you understand. And if your level is low, that's a tough job for the teacher. How can I give them English, for example? How can I give them language that is simple enough for them to understand? Well, TPR uses actions to convey meaning, to show meaning. That's why it's so powerful. TPR does not require translation. I can teach English with TPR with no translation. I do not need to know the student's language. I do not need to translate to Spanish or Japanese or French or anything. With TPR, I use actions to show them what the words mean. And I can teach someone who knows zero English using this technique. and they will learn quickly, very quickly, as a matter of fact. They will very quickly learn to understand the meaning of the English words. And also very quickly, they will learn to understand first single words, then phrases, then full sentences. TPR is powerful. It is so fast. I love it. I wish I could use it somehow on the internet. Maybe in the future, I might use video to do that. Create some video TPR lessons. However, the truth is, most English learners are not low beginners. You have all learned in your schools. Unfortunately, you learned with bad methods, most of you, but still, you have a good amount of vocabulary. So TPR is not so necessary. However, Tomoe is starting effortless Japanese, and Tomoe will use TPR because with Japanese, most people have not studied Japanese before. There are a lot of low beginners, a lot of zero-level Japanese learners. So she's going to use learning guides plus TPR to teach low-level Japanese, starting from zero. If you know no Japanese at all, nothing, you can listen to her lessons and read her lesson guides, and you will learn Japanese, and quite quickly, I think. You will start to get a good feeling for Japanese, and it will not feel difficult. It should feel easy. Her website actually is starting this at the end of this week. She will start testing it. She will probably accept a few beta test members. I don't know how many. I'll have to ask her. I will be one of them, of course. I'll be one of her test students, so I will begin learning Japanese with all of you. And my Japanese skill is very, very low. So I'm excited to learn. I can finally learn something with TPR. It's great. So anyway, with English, however, I think low beginners, it's not so necessary on the internet. So I focus more on TPRS, TPR Storytelling, which is another excellent technique that is much more effective than traditional methods. And this is not just my opinion because I like it. There's a lot of research about this. This is another technique I found when I was doing my master's thesis for teaching English. I found out about TPRS, TPR Storytelling. And I was like, wow, this is much better. The students learn vocabulary without trying to memorize, wordless. The students learn grammar without studying grammar rules. And they learn real communication. And they can tell the stories themselves. They learn to really understand and communicate. And that is, number one, the most important goal. There's another very powerful technique which I use here in San Francisco. It's called focal skills. Focal skills, there are different parts to focal skills, but the best part, my favorite part, is the movie technique. You use movies to teach the language. You don't just show the movie. That's not enough. Most of you know if you just watch a movie in English, it's too fast, you can't understand it. So that's not good. But if a teacher shows the movie, if they show one scene of the movie, maybe 2 minutes, they show it one time, normal speed. Then they stop, they rewind. Next, they show it again, but they pause every few seconds, and they explain what's happening. They use simple English that you understand. They might explain some new vocabulary or slang that is used in the movie. They might describe what's happening in the movie. They might point to people and things and describe them. And then they play the scene again. And then they go back one more time. They play the same scene a third time. This time they pause. They ask the student many questions. Who is this guy? What is he wearing? What does he look like? What is he doing? Why is he doing that? What is going to happen next? So it becomes a conversation. The teacher's asking many questions about the movie, and the students are answering these questions. So after you watch each scene like this 3 different times, the teacher then goes to the next scene. It takes a long time to watch one movie, but the point is not to watch a movie. The point is to learn the language. And in this way, you learn real language. Movies are much more real than textbooks. Textbooks are fake. Nobody speaks like that. Don't use textbook English. Movie English is much closer to real conversational English. Movies are perfect textbooks. Textbooks are not good. Anyway, that's another different kind of technique. There are many techniques, not only one. Effortless English, I try to use the best techniques I know that can be used on the internet. So that's what I'm doing with you. TPR Storytelling, reading articles and listening to them many times, changing the point of view for the articles, for the mini stories. These are things that can be done easily on the internet, that you can do easily by yourself. It's very cheap for you. It's very simple. And it works. It works much better than a textbook. If you need to find a school, some people like school. Some people want to see a teacher face-to-face. That's fine. But try to find a school that uses TPRS or focal skills or TPR or a natural approach. Try to find that. They all say they use the natural approach. Just be careful. All these schools, they say, oh, we use the natural approach. But in fact, most of them do not. In fact, most of them use the same textbooks and the same methods. So if you're looking for a school, be careful when you shop. Ask a lot of questions. Alrighty, that's all for today's commentary. It's a topic I'm quite fond of. I like it a lot, of course. Good luck with your English learning. Just keep listening. Listen to those mini stories. I think the mini story lessons are the best. That's why I added a new one. Now you have 2 mini stories for each lesson. Please listen to those many, many, many times and then listen to the articles, etc. Okay, I'll see you next time. Good luck. Please enjoy your English learning. Have fun. Be enthusiastic. Bye-bye.